And of course, you bow to your partner since we are helping each other. And even if we were opponents in a real match, they generally would bow to each other. Right? Okay. So we're saluting each other. This is the salute, getting ready, then transferring. I am A. I start out with the attack. I go to cut her neck. She blocks. Comes to cut my wrist. I get out of the way. She comes to cut my neck. I block. She comes to cut my waist. I neutralize. I go to poke her. She blocks down. I go to cut her neck. She blocks. She comes around for my wrist. I get back. She comes for my neck. I block. She comes for my leg. I get out of the way, I try and cut her leg. So there's the whole form. Now we'll transition. She becomes A. She cuts my neck, I go for her wrist. I go for her neck, she blocks. I go for her waist, she neutralizes. She goes to poke, I block. She goes to cut my neck, I block. I go to cut her wrist, she gets out of the way. I go to cut her neck, she blocks. I go to cut her leg, she tries to get my wrist. One more time. And then we just come to a little close. Okay, so you can see that's rather simple but fun, and it gets to be quite, if we got going, it gets to be quite aerobic and quite a lot of fun. Okay, so let's break it up now, and we'll show you the basic applications. What is going on and why? Okay, so for the sake, I am A and Stephanie is B, all right, at this juncture. So if I say A, I mean me. If I say B, I mean Stephanie. Okay, so we're starting again at the proper distance. Now this preparation is basically just kind of getting the form. There's really no application. You're just raising your chi, getting your energy going, kind of filling yourself up. We then change hands, and at this point, we're basically hiding the saber from our opponent. Now we do this quite a lot. We hide it either back here, or in this case, you can see from my standpoint, you see it's very difficult, would be very difficult for Stephanie to see it. Even though she knows, she knows I've got it, but still, you want to be focusing on it. And if it's hidden behind you, you don't know if it's going to be coming down or how it's going to be coming out. So in this case, it's just relax. Now, my first move, I'm starting the aggression. Now, if Stephanie doesn't do anything, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this big sweep around and cut her neck. Now, the neck was a very vulnerable spot. They didn't have much in the way of protection for the neck, armor, because that would make it very difficult. They couldn't turn. So there's quite a lot of things for the neck. Now, in my first move, you see, I swing around to gain a momentum. I could just, cut down, but it wouldn't gain as much momentum as swinging around and cutting down through. This movement could definitely sever many of the tendons and blood vessels, and even just decapitate. So it's a very strong movement. Okay, so as I go to do this, Stephanie's the major thing she's going to do is get out of the way. You see? Now, if you notice what she's going to do, as I do this, she steps to the side. And she's also applying a blocking herself, just in case something happens. Now, you see, once I'm committed, if say, don't move, it's very hard. You've got to trust your partner when you do it. If I'm chopping downward, it would be very hard for me to stop midair if Stephanie gets out of the way. You see? So if I'm coming down and she moves before I'm really committed, then I just go for wherever in the world she's going. So for this person, they have to be fast, very fast. And then besides just kind of getting out of the way, she's also going to put this saber up. Now, she's blocking with the side of her saber. She's applying, so if you hold this, you see this structure is very strong because this could be coming down quite, and this is supporting her. So she has this sort of a nice triangle here. And of course, it's at about neck level so that, you see, it wouldn't do her too much good if she did it down here, right? So that's her space. Okay, so if we go back here. So I come around. Now, she blocks. Now, my arm is out there. As she steps to the side and in, she cuts my wrist off. You see? So the wrist is the most really attacked part of the body in the saber practice and most of the weapons because it usually sticks out the furthest. In this case, as I'm coming down, you see, it's sticking out, so she just goes right for it. Right? And she doesn't have to cut the arm off. All she has to do, in this case, it's a chopping the hand off. But I mean, generally, if she just sort of, slices it a bit, it's usually enough. Okay. So, I'm coming for her neck. She's blocking. Now, as she comes, I get out of the way. So it's just the very basic, as she comes down, I just pull back into my center and relaxing. I'm sitting back, I'm comfortably back. Now, the beauty, I said about feinting and faking. So you'll see here now, if Stephanie was using a feint in this case, or fake, as I come down, she fakes towards my arm. I get it out, and she just immediately comes up and walks right through the next layer, which is the top layer. You see? So here we've gone through changing levels, the first big change of levels. So here she's at the middle level. Then, as I get it down, she comes to the upper level and walks right through. Now, this is one of the principles of the saber and any weapon and Tai Chi in itself. As much as possible, we step in. You see it right here at the very first. When I go, Stephanie's stepping inside my saber. Now, it's very difficult for me to cut her because I have to come back somehow to get her. So as I withdraw, now she just walks past. She's past me. Very difficult for me to deal with.